Now, last week, we did a story about Justice Baffoe Bonnie. And this is the story, this is a gist I'm going to share with you.
Ebusian for Ghana TV GH. Make sure like, a comment, subscribe, turn on notification so that anytime video we upload, there was some make up. Ebusian for Justice Baffoe Bonnie. That's a maba. We the Yamina make Paul Holla BT and say entra Munkwana Mkochi Paul by a gist. The woman him say Baffoe Bonnie ni appointment aba. I mean, your mama is excellency are recommending her as the next Chief Justice. Or Obeka Koshia, Penyo Markin, and the rest, or appointment committee. But the most interesting aspect, he said there has been a twist, or before the appointment, there was a twist. And he said, yes, see, according to sources close to John Mahama, no, now, Crawford be our mobile John Mahama, no more per se, we have appointment no matter Baffoe Bonnie, no more pay. But on him say, on who said na, in seminar, from April, John Mahama, start Chief Justice removal process now. Papa is very instrumental when Baffoe Bonnie. Because before ye mami Arabano now a constituted panel already asem no. Baffoe Bonnie buy no some panel no. Some panel no. I think or the on crowd it na panel no so. Same bia ye mami de call Supreme Court. O ma questioning nyina no. Go for bebre feel say all those things were engineered by, allegedly. And he said, Baffoe Bonnie wabua sa agenda. Ajo mama ni this no more than nampa. Now, after that, no, and Uncle Fobi who said, Debbie. Uncle for mu bejo mama or modo Baffoe Bonnie who said, Debbie. I say, Papa no, na junior assistant, I ejo mama. And he, what do? They quickly advise Baffoe Bonnie say, Sir Ghana Bar Association meeting, Uncle Kasafa Galamsi. Listen, say, so Kasafa Galamsi. It will be like, as you're independent, because we are expected to say, oh, you're judge, so you're independent, yes, sir. But it will give the impression, oh, you're independent, sir. Now, so, or master impression, now later on, now appointment of Chief Justice, but now, kind of for back as I say, debut. Is it because Baffoe Bonnie criticized Galamsey Tina, Mama and Farmer Nuna, and it or place that trick, no. This trick now play, no. It left John Mama with no other alternative than to appoint him as a CJ. Otherwise, because if it does not appoint him as CJ, people were going to talk. We was saying for the tricky or man will move politics. There too. We say the judges judges are playing politics. Parliamentarians are playing politics, executives playing politics. Let's see. Governor Amunike say, let's see the edit. The video is up next.
The gist. So there were people within the president's office, inner circle of President Mahama, who didn't want Baffoe Bonnie to be nominated as a Chief Justice. That's normal. It's natural. It always happens. In politics, that's the game. There were those who wanted Justice Baffoe Bonnie also to be nominated. So what you do when you have a situation like that, you don't get upset because there's nothing to get upset about political appointment. There'll always be lobbying for other people. However you think somebody is qualified, another person has a different opinion. That's the inner circle politics around the presidents of Ghana and presidents of everywhere. So you don't have to get upset that people don't want your choice. They want another person. What you do then, if you can, is to develop and devise a strategy that will help you to achieve the results. Because the president's an individual, he's a politician, he's an individual as a leader. He's going to listen to everyone, and then you have to find a way to sway the president to your side. It happens on a daily basis when presidents are about to make important and sensitive appointments. So the gist is that the NDC people who supported Justice Baffoe Bonnie, they mentioned to him, the chief, the thing is becoming very tight. You have Amadou Tanko in there. And the lobby for Amadou Tanko is coming from very important, significant quarters. I won't mention the name, but they told me. It's coming from very important quarters. Amadou Tanko's nomination. There's also the age-old Justice Kulendi thing, which is also being captured by some important people around the president. In fact, some of the president's immediate family wanted Justice Kulendi. Okay. And then there are also those who think that Justice Gabriel Poaman has done more than enough to get the situation, something they call the situation. We don't know what it is, but we can surmise that is reference to the talk or no removal. We can surmise that, but we don't know. So Justice Gabriel Poaman too should be considered for the position. In any case, Baffoe Bonnie will end in December 2026, next year. He's gone. Okay. So the supporters of Baffoe Bonnie, we heard this last week, told him that, Chief, one of the ways in which you can get this thing is you have an invitation to the bar conference, you speak there. Perhaps you should touch on Galamsey, perhaps, because it's real. The Galamsey is a problem. When you touch on Galamsey, you will be able to attract some attachment of independence to your candidature. Because right now, it is suspected that there has been a railroading of Tokonu out of the seat. And it is suspected that all of us have participated in this process. So if you were to stand one step away and speak about Galamsey, which is true and which is public knowledge, you will be able to attach to yourself a certain sense of independence. That will make it very difficult for the government to ignore you as the acting Chief Justice and place another person, because the independent MPP media, the Paul Adomotris of this world, Miracles Abuaje and Nana B and all those people who come on Good Morning Ghana for MPP talkatives and all that, they are all going to point fingers at John Mahama and say that, oh, you see, the guy was acting. Because he spoke against the president, they didn't give it to him, and it's going to paint the president as an intolerable kind of person. Already, the president having to struggle with that kind of narrative. And he's a president who has always been presented as one who is very friendly and who is very tolerating of people who don't like him. And so you see John Mahama smiling with MPP people, shaking hands with MPP people. He seems to tolerate people who don't like him in politics, who don't like his politics. He would like to keep that image. So if you go hard at Galamsey, it just might work. That was the lobby. This is what we hear. That was the lobby. It appeared that it was successful. Hugely successful. Because today, here we are congratulating Justice Paul Baffoe Bonnie, and who is now being taught about as for all of these civil society independent thinkers think that, oh, he's a very independent-minded judge. He was acting Chief Justice. He went to the Galamsey place and spoke about the issue. Now, why did that have to happen? Why did Justice Baffoe Bonnie why did he need to do something to give him a certain sense of independence? Because right from the get-go on the Tokonu matter, it had appeared, and references had been made, that Justice Baffoe Bonnie as acting Chief Justice had empaneled, he sat on the panel, Tokonu lost all the decisions, everything was against her, she complained to the Supreme Court and the unanimous decision. At some point, the court said they have no jurisdiction because the matters are in camera. All of these things, legal as they may be, clothed with legal legitimacy as it may be, seem to have suffered quite a bit of moral legitimacy. All of these decisions. However much that they were clothed with legal legitimacy because it's a procedure, they seem to suffer a bit of political and moral legitimacy. So in those circumstances, all of the people who had participated may have been suffering some deficits of moral and political. If one of them, the acting Chief Justice, were to speak about this very obvious matter, the Catholic Bishops' Conference had written about it. If he were to speak about it, just maybe he will attract and attach himself with some level of independence. If that happens, he will be the most attractive person for the position in terms of ticking the governance box, because the government of President Mahama would not like to be told that, oh, you had an acting Chief Justice. Because he went to the bar conference and spoke against you people, you ignored him for the Chief Justice. So you sort of bottled them into the position. Is that what happened? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But what we can say tonight is that congratulations to Mr. Justice Baffoe Bonnie. He's been nominated by the President of Ghana as the next Chief Justice. He's going to face Afenyo Markin and the rest of the Appointments Committee hearing. Where does this leave the rest of the judges? That's the most important question. Now, President Mahama had hinted earlier that in terms of appointments, he would be following on through their seniority. In nominating Justice Baffoe Bonnie, that's precisely what the president has done. He has gone to the next senior-most judge to become Chief Justice. When Justice Baffoe Bonnie leaves, if he succeeds in the Appointments Committee hearings, and we think he would, if he succeeds, the next in line will be Justice Gabriel Poaman if President Mahama were to keep the agenda of keeping the next senior-most. Where does that leave the rest? This is now the story. Here is Justice Gabriel Poaman. Now, Justice Baffoe Bonnie will be retiring on December 2026. He's turning 70, then he's gone. Justice Gabriel Poaman is next in line. If Justice Gabriel Poaman gets the job, according to what President Mahama has said, that he will go according to seniority, Justice Gabriel Poaman will be there till August 2030. There's a crucial benchmark, threshold, epoch that's coming. 2028 December, we are going to vote for a new president and a new parliament. We are going to be entering the 10th parliament. That will be a fantastic milestone of the parliament, the 10th parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. That's amazing. I can't wait for that. God give us life, shouldn't he? And we'll all be there to see the 10th parliament. The brutal one was the 8th parliament. That's what woke all of us up. The 8th parliament, where they had to blues boxing and things before Bagbin became the speaker. Bagbin has become a two-time speaker, equaling the record of Justice D.F. Annan, the only one to have been a two-time speaker in the 4th Republic. That's Alban Sumano Kingsford Bagbin. We don't know whether he'll be there again or whether he will leave, but we are going to elect another parliament in that 2028 election. Justice Gabriel Poaman, if he becomes, will be there till 2030. So that epoch, he will be the one to see the transition. Whether it's an NDC to NDC, NDC to NPP, it's a transition. He will be the one to see it. Now, who comes next? Is there a next? This is Justice Amadou Tanko. Now, he retires in 2027. So, if in 2026, President Mahama follows the seniority and goes to Justice Gabriel Poaman, certainly, surely, Amadou Tanko would have lost it. If he goes to Amadou Tanko, then Amadou Tanko will be there for 1 year until 27. That will be from 26 to 27, and then he will be gone. I don't know what President Mahama would like to do, whether he would think of, oh, Justice Poaman, don't worry. Tanko has only 1 year. Let me go to Amadou Tanko for 1 year, and then I'll come to you. But that will be offending the seniority concept, because Justice Gabriel Poaman is next senior most to Justice Paul Baffoe Bonnie. Now, Justice Gabriel Poaman is senior most because he came to the Supreme Court first. But Amadou Tanko will be retiring before the year that Justice Poaman leaves. So if Justice Poaman gets it, good night, Justice Amadou Tanko. Your Lordship, God bless you. We hope for the best for you. But he's retiring in 2027. Next, Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, our eternal criminal law lecturer, retires also in October 2027. So if she doesn't get it, and Justice Poaman is named, then sorry, we are not going to have another woman on the bench for a while, because Professor Justice Henrietta Mensah Bonsu will be out. She'll be 70 in October 2027, and that will be the end of her Supreme Court's journey, and she will not become Lord Chief Justice. Unfortunately, she perhaps will go down as one of the best people we didn't get for Chief Justice. Very, very, very solid woman, very, very intelligent, very big on criminal law, and very sort of astute, very astute woman, Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu. She retires in October 2027. Who's next? Next in the agenda is my own Lord, His Lordship Justice Yoni Kulendi. Now, Justice Kulendi retires in November 2033. That's after the next election. After the 32 election, he retires. But Justice Poaman goes to 2030. So whoever is president in 2030, if he's minded, Henrietta Mensah Bonsu will be gone. Amadou Tanko will be gone. Justice Kulendi will be the next senior most. And so if they are going by senior most, in 2030, Justice Kulendi should, if the president of the day is so minded, give Justice Kulendi the Chief Justice position. Now, so what should Justice Kulendi do now? Because he's been qualified since Tokonu. He's qualified now. He's gone to Baffoe Bonnie. So Justice Kulendi lost to Tokonu. We can't say he's lost to Baffoe Bonnie, but Baffoe Bonnie has gotten it now. If another person like Poaman gets it, and there will be some more nominations on the Supreme Court. But whoever comes, Justice Kulendi will be senior. It depends on the president and the government of the day. So Justice Kulendi should hope that whoever becomes the president in 2028 is friendly with him and is good with him. If that's so, if he becomes president in 2028, he can shift the Chief Justice to him 2 years down the line in 33. Is it 2 years? No, more than 2 years. This guy lives in 30. The election is in 32. Oh, so, but he lives in 30 and the election is in 32. So the president that is sworn in January 2029 will be there by the time Justice Poiman leaves, and he can go to Justice Kolendi, who would become the Chief Justice in that sense in 2032. And then he will have 1 year to leave in 2033. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? That's good. That's